is about the most dashing, the most fabulous, the handsomest, the Crimson Avenger. Oh, I meant Dandelion. Sorry. So, this video is the first of 6. It's going to be about Geralt's company. If you know Geralt's company, it consists of 6 people, including Geralt. Dandelion, Milva, 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, Regis, and 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, and then Geralt. So the companies consider themselves, or each other, a group of free agents. From this point on, they became a unit, sharing a common goal, to support and depend on one another, under Geralt's leadership. Even though they're working together, each member have their own reason for following Geralt. Milva wanted to deal with her regrets. 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰 fell in love with Ciri and wanted to keep her safe. 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰 wanted to pay off her debt of honor. And Regis, from what I can tell, was a bit lonely. He also makes excellent mandrake hooch. So each of these will be a brief story about the companions before joining Geralt's company, since I'll be covering their full adventure together in the final video. So let's start on this journey, and you know the drill. There will be pretty big spoilers for the books. Maybe if the show covers it? I doubt it. Let's start. Oh, and before I start, I want to give a huge shout out to the Path of the Witcher on Instagram. He's helping me provide all these excellent images you're going to see for all these videos I'm going to make. His work is great. I'm going to share a link down below in the description. You can follow him on Instagram. Let's start. Julian Alfred Pancratz, Viscount de Lindenhove, better known as Dandelion, or Jaskier in Polish and on the Netflix show, was a poet, minstrel, bard, and a close friend of Geralt. Not much is known about Dandelion's family, except that he was of noble birth and was a cousin of 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, the royal instigator of Carrack. He received his early education in a temple school where, according to Geralt, literacy was beaten into him with a cane. However, he didn't truly get into poetry until he was 19, after being inspired by his love for Countess de Stael. Dandelion studied the 7 liberal arts for 4 years at Oxford University before later becoming a professor, but only taught students for a year before leaving the academy to travel the world. He would, however, visit Oxford from time to time to give guest lectures. Within a very few years, he gained worldwide fame and became known as one of the best minstrels in the northern kingdoms, with his best-known song was the Ballad of the Lion Cub of Cintra. Dandelion first met Geralt at a festival in the town of Geralt in Aedirn. There, the poet had knocked up a girl under the musician's podium, and her 4 brothers were looking for him. They were threatening to geld him and cover him in pitch and sawdust. The so-called Valley of Flowers seemed just the right location for the duo's swift escape, as it was supposed to be the edge of the inhabited world, or the last outpost of civilization. It was in the small town of Upper Posada, located in a part of Northern Realms that later became Dol Plathana, that the pair had their first adventure together, involving a nasty Sylvan and an encounter with elves. Wait, hold on. What is this? Okay. So there's a pretty big difference with the book, some with the game, and the Netflix show. So I just made a comparison to show you now. Okay. So, okay. Also, a lot of the important elves look very different. Alright, just let you know. During this adventure, Dandelion received his precious loot from 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰. The good one, not the bad one, the good one. Later, Dandelion was in Vizima and heard word of Geralt being injured and recovering at the temple of 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰 in 𝓘𝓮𝓻𝓬𝓱. He visited the temple and spoke to 𝓜𝓮𝓻𝓬𝓱, trying to win her favor, despite her annoyance of him flirting with one of the priestesses. After he went and saw Geralt, and the two spent time discussing Dandelion's education, as well as lack of work for the Witcher. Later that day, the two left for the city of 𝓘𝓮𝓻. Once they arrived in the city, they were confronted by 𝓜𝓮𝓻𝓬𝓱, Arthur Tales, and Count 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰. Geralt was forced to duel 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰. After the conflict, the Witcher and the Bard returned to the temple to say their goodbyes before leaving. Did I mention that he was also world famous for being a womanizer? He captured the heart of 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, the Duchess of Toussaint. With that, he got the title of Viscount. At that time in the books, Dandelion left Geralt's company to be with his beloved 𝓘𝓷𝓼𝓽𝓪𝓰, claiming he had found his ideal partner. Now, during his travels with Geralt, Dandelion started to write his memoirs, entitled Half a Century of Poetry. It was originally intended to be called 50 Years of Poetry, but Regis managed to convince the Bard to change the title to a more poetic one. Now, he tried to write the book twice, in fact. His first attempt was lost in the bottom of the Duchess's closet after the poet was banished from her duchy. But rather than suffering from the loss, the poet decided to rewrite his memoirs from scratch. His poems were later bound in two collections, The Adversities of Loving and Time of the Moon. Even though Dandelion didn't play a key role in Geralt's company, he was still part of the journey. I'll discuss more in-depth tale of their whole adventure in the final chapter of the miniseries. And that concludes the forever loving and poetic tale of Dandelion, a trusty companion in Geralt's company. If there's another story you'd like for me to cover, put down in the comments below. But in the meantime, I'm going to do Geralt's company, which after 6 videos, I can get to it. And with that said, good luck on the path.